Hi, I'm Bee. Today I'm going to create some super cute wall art. I used a gold 2mm wire, pliers, wire cutters, circular shaped things to wrap the wire around, a hammer, and some finishing nails. It took me multiple tries to figure out what worked for me. At first I thought I could use a printout and to use the wire to trace around the general shape of the picture, but after 2 seconds I realized this was not going to work. I do not have the skill set to make something so complex. So I tossed that away and decided to just try for a basic bee-like shape. I took my cut piece of wire and twisted the ends together so the ends could make like a cute stinger and an oval shape for the body. And then I cut another piece of wire and I pinched it around the body wire to attach it and started wrapping it around to make the stripes of the bee. The wire just ended up all weird. I didn't like it, so I decided to start over. As always, if you want to please the Pandaverse, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Next week, I'm going to be creating ears for my headset, and I cannot wait to see how they turn out. I realized I needed something to wrap the wire around to keep the shape of the body, so that way when I added the stripes to the body wouldn't get all bent out of shape. I grabbed the inside hoop of an embroidery hoop set and I used that to create my bee. I started wrapping the wire around, leaving a little bit on the end for the stinger, and then I looped it back, folding it around the stinger to kind of hold that loop in place. My first failed bee made me realize that not only is it very difficult to attach one wire to another wire, it also isn't very aesthetically pleasing. So I decided I was going to try to make this bee with one piece of wire. So after I wrapped that wire around the hoop initially and I had bent it back around the stinger, I began to zigzag it back and forth, creating a stripe pattern. While I was doing this, my coil of wire got tangled. I tried to cut the wire where it was long enough so that way I could finish the entire bee. After I cut that off, I finished my zigzag and looped the wire around the body to help it stay in place. I knew I wanted to add antennas, but since I wanted to keep this as one piece of wire, I knew I was going to have the wire retrace its steps. So I decided to just make a loop and twist it so that way the wire could go back towards the wings without having to cut the wire. Now I needed something to wrap the wire around to create the wings. At first I tried my pen jar, but it ended up making the wings too large. And then I saw a pill bottle and it had a smaller circumference. It was better proportions for the size of the bee that I had created. Once I finished creating the wings, I took the remaining wire and I just started looping and twisting it around the remaining wire of the back of the bee so that way it would be able to hold the wings and the stripes in place. Now that I had a better idea of what I needed to do, I knew I could make a better one. So on to B3. But this time, once I was done with the stripes, being super careful not to tangle the coiled wire, I went on to the wings instead of the antenna so that way I would not have to loop back. With each wing, I ended up looping around part of the stripes to help hold everything in place. And then when I finished off with the antenna, I used a pencil to curl the wire to give the antenna a squiggly effect. Now that I've made 2 bees and I've got a really good handle of how to make a bee like this, I've decided I'm going to make a third one, but this time I want to make a baby bee to complete the set. Since it's going to be a baby, it has to have a smaller circumference, so I used the pill bottle to create the body of the bee, and I used the neck of the pill bottle to create the wings. I created this one in the same manner that I had created the second one. It was a little bit more difficult because everything was smaller, and I ended the baby with a swirl antenna. Once I had created all 3 bees, I realized I could use that wasted wire from my failed bee and create the path that the bees had flown that you often see in cartoons. To do this, I just curled it around a pencil and then gently stretched it out, bending it into the shapes that I was going for. Because this wire is super lightweight, I ended up just using masking tape to help with the placement on the wall. Then I used small white finishing nails because they blend into the wall, and then the focus is on the bees. These bees are so simplistic, but also so darling, and let's check out those final results. If there's a trick to working with wire art or helpful hints that I need to know about creating wire art, I would love to hear them because I'm obviously a novice and I definitely could use some help for my next project. If you like this video, check out one of my other arts and crafts videos. Can you see the redness?